chosen ones. We are the few, our Father's favorite son. And we're coming after you. 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 Our time has just begun to rise anew. Our world will come undone when we're coming after you. And we're coming after you. And we're coming after you. And we're coming after you. Are coming after you. We're coming after you. We're coming after you. We're coming after you. And 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 we're coming after you. Our Father's favorite one. We are the few. Our world will come undone when we're coming after you. And 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 we're coming after you. I'm coming after you. We're coming after you. We're coming after you. We're coming after you.
Well, I think you know what that time it is. It is time to go live. We are here. We are live. It is a pleasure to have everybody with me here. When you get here, go ahead and say what's up down in the chat below. I want to make sure that you're here. I want to see how things are going. And of course, if you have any questions, well, feel free to let me know. We'll just be chatting here for a little while. I just want to kind of say what's up, see how you guys are doing. Oh, yes, there is my brother. Where's the picture of your setup that I sent you? You do not get a picture of the setup because the setup is not complete. I have not finished it. I have been prepping and getting ready. We've got our Ministerial Association conference, AFCM Family Reunion next week. And so because it's next week, I just been kind of trying to get videos edited, uploaded, created, all of that stuff ready to essentially everything that I need for social media while I'm going to be gone. I want to make sure that it's ready to go and that it's all coming out on time. So doing lots of prep work for that. Also, had something kind of addressed, proposed to me last night. And so I'm not quite sure exactly what all it's going to entail, what all it's going to look like. I would give you guys a little bit of an announcement, but I'm not sure if I've got permission to quite announce it yet. So I will hold off a little bit on that, but you'll probably see me posting on social media tomorrow, at least for it. So, yeah, Dustin saying you act like you're busy. I'm never busy. I mean, you know me, a pastor, I only work, one day a week, and it's only for 30 minutes. It used to be an hour, but I don't even preach that long anymore. So yeah, definitely not busy at all. So we got Danielle saying, how are Reagan and Bush? Reagan and Bush. I'm assuming you meant, how are your girls? The girls want to know. So the girls are doing good. Actually, right there, you can see my little M&M is saying, hey, Dad. So, hey, how you doing? Good to see you there. Even though I don't see you here, I see your name there, but you see me on your screen, and it's a whole deal. It's interesting. So, yes, I am definitely a slacker. So, Harley in the house. Harley, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. Glad you are here. We had that interesting conversation that was starting on one of our Facebook groups that we may just kind of jump in here because it was something spawning off of, it made me think of a post that I saw yesterday in a completely other group. So I decided that we may just kind of address that and see what's going on. So we also got CJ Lingle. CJ, what is going on, my brother? How are you doing? He's another one of our Christian video creators, doing some cool stuff, launching this. You just got the podcast stuff going too, so excited for that. Hey, CJ, I was wondering, have you got the new version of the podcast switched over to Spotify yet? I know you were kind of working on that, so I'd be interesting to find out, because that's kind of where I'm at, and trying to find that out. So that's kind of one of those things. And yes, the eldest right here. Hello, Kiera. Good to see you. Everybody's saying, hey, everybody's greeting each other. Wait, no, you can't do that. Nope. It has to come up. Okay. See, I was told by Jason Mayfield that in my digital ministry podcast that one of the things I need to make in all of my vlogs from now on is what we call the floating coffee hand. There it is, the floating coffee hand. So, you guys know me. I always got to have extra coffee ready to go. So, get a little French press action going there to fill this up here in just a little bit. And now CJ bouncing from one to the other in the chat here, in the chat there. I mean, I'm in the chat everywhere. So we're just kind of rolling on. And Eliana says, she's in the house. That's always great. Love to see you guys here. Yes, Harley. So you had asked real quick, you had said, is it the Matthew 18, the 99 one lost sheep? No, that one wasn't it. It was actually this other one that you had just mentioned, the one about the blessings. And so this kind of, it sparked a thought in my head. And this is, pardon me there. This actually it came from a female Christian video creator that we know, Epic Katie. She's got a really, really fun, really creative channel out there. And she just kind of posed this question. And so I'm hoping I didn't take her wrong. She didn't take me wrong. I don't think either one of us did. But it spurred a thought in my mind about something I saw in the No Small Creators Facebook group, where people were talking about, and there was this one guy in particular, and he's basically just saying that success on YouTube really comes down to luck, and that's all there is. That essentially somebody just has to get lucky. They've got to everything has to align, the stars have to be there, and then boom, and it just happens. Now, I don't know this guy. I don't know his background. I don't know where he comes from. So I don't know any of that. However, the thing that shocked me the most is not that somebody would believe that, but that so many people agreed with him and believed that. And that kind of bothered me a little bit, because what about our hard work? What about the effort that we put forth? Yes, there are people that have went out there and done YouTube and many other things, and they've just got lucky. It was like the all of a sudden they just created a spark. I get that. I understand that. But I also understand things from a biblical perspective that it's kind of like that. If you don't work, you don't eat. And if you don't sow, you don't reap. You've got to put forth the effort. And there are just simple principles that are out there that I think we all could really be applying and we all could be doing. And so that's kind of one of those things. When I thought about this, I thought instantly of one of the YouTube creators, Daryl Eves, and he's kind of this YouTube expert. And he tells people some strategies and stuff. And he's helped my channel immensely, really, in getting my average watch time and view durations up, as well as some of even the channel branding, just from me listening to some of his speeches, some of his videos, some of his advice, listening and hopping in on his live streams late at night when he would do those, just so I could learn. The reason I think it has more to do with hard work than anything else is here's Daryl Eves, who has taken 21 channels from 0 subscribers to 1 million. You can't honestly believe that was just good luck that happened 21 times. No, that's a guy that has figured out how the system works, figured out over the years what YouTube is looking for, and he just knew how to capitalize on it. So for me, I think, if anything, if we're talking about the lucky thing or the blessing thing that we would receive, the luck and the blessing that we have is there are so many other people on all different platforms and really in every area of life that have already done a lot of the hard work and laid the groundwork for us. Just like our lives as Christ, it's not like we have to reinvent the wheel. All we've got to do is essentially what the Apostle Paul said, and it's follow somebody as they're following Christ. And if we do that, that is where we have the path that is laid out before us. So it was a thought that I just kind of wanted to share here with you guys, and just kind of throw it out there. So yeah, CJ saying Daryl Eves is a YouTubing beast. Brother, he is. He's got so much knowledge, so much wisdom in there that it's remarkable to hear what it is that he's able to do, to be able to listen to him. It was one of my privileges to be down at Video Marketing World and see him, and really just his kind of format for a YouTube video. It works so well that I've implemented it in a lot of my videos, especially my vlogs. It's just kind of a step-by-step process. So, yeah, I don't believe it has anything to do with luck. Trent Granger in the house. Hey, Trent, missionary, man. What's going on, brother? No, I really don't believe it has anything to do with luck at all. A blessing and luck is completely different. Blessing is something that it's from God. And I understand that, because really, to me on YouTube, what Daryl Eves and his knowledge has helped me do, what Sean Cannell and his knowledge, what Roberto Blake, what Tim Schmoyer, what Nick Nimmin, what Brian G. Johnson, these guys, and so many more. I mean, Jason Mayfield and Trey Van Camp and Cody Warner and Jeff Barch from Story Greenlight and Diana Gladney, and even some of you guys, the things that I've learned from you, little bits and pieces that I pick up, that is the blessing that I have. Access to all of these people that have figured out little bits and pieces of doing things in an effective way. And the blessing that I really have is God's given me eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to realize what it is that's actually being done and what it is that's actually successful and how I can partake in some of that. So that's kind of the thing that I love. Yeah, I definitely don't think that that luck has anything to do with it. Not at all. Oh yeah. And Justin Koo, absolutely, that Christian vlogger. Really, he was one of the first interviews I think that I ever heard when I was getting ready to start this, and I had been talking to God and praying about God, or praying to God, asking about doing this type of a YouTube digital ministry. And I heard an interview with Justin, and I can't remember if it was on Pro Church Tools with Brady Shearer, or if it was on the Social Media Church podcast. And it was one of those two. And I heard him and kind of his story and the why. And it was an older interview that he had done. But that was just enough that it got me thinking about this and realizing, you know what, this is a missions field that's out there, and I need to do what I can do. And yes, I could just be focusing on trying to reach the lost, or I could also try to reach the believers. And for me, it was really kind of a trial and error process. See, what is it that God's really kind of equipped me and enabled me to do? And I found over this last year, especially, that one of my biggest strengths is really just encouraging the believers. And so that's what I do. I mean, that's why I tell you guys that my big mission and my goal here is not just sharing God's love, but it's also encouraging you to live by faith. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for that, and it has been fun. So one of the other things, and here's just kind of, I want to get some feedback off you guys. So 3 weeks ago, I launched the Digital Ministry Podcast. That's what we called it. That's what we launched it. What do you think? Have you guys watched it? Have you been seeing some of these episodes, whether it be here on YouTube or whether it's on your favorite podcast app, whether it was, on Apple or Google or Spotify or Stitcher or SoundCloud, or I don't know. I think pretty much anywhere that a podcast could be out, I'm pretty sure I've got it covered. I'm there. And that was just one I wanted to make sure that I brought the content I could to you guys with relative ease. So I'm just kind of wondering, have you guys watched that? Have you seen any of those? I know if you're kind of watching this and catching up with me over on Facebook, I haven't posted those, other than you might have seen links here and there where I've done some of those. But primarily what I'm doing is on the podcast platforms, uploading them straight there. And then when it comes to YouTube, I'm uploading the whole video interview, and it's the whole thing. And so there's kind of been the back and forth. The first one was really just kind of an introduction for the podcast. What was the mission behind it? What are we trying to accomplish? Which essentially is sharing stories and strategies of online digital ministry, social media ministry, whatever you want to call it. That's really what it was. And then the last 2 weeks, I've had two guys I mentioned before, Trey Van Camp and Jason Mayfield, who Jason Mayfield has apparently said he wants to create a false rivalry with Trey Van Camp. So, but yeah, if you guys have watched it, I'd just be curious to hear what your thoughts are so far. We're still early on the podcast, but are you enjoying it? Those that have watched it, any segments that really kind of jumping out at you? I would really be interested to hear kind of what you got saying. So, CJ, saw Jason on your podcast. Mayfield plus Verwers equals entertaining. Yes, it was a very entertaining interview. Over the last several months, he and I have kind of created and got this friendship going on. And so it has been very fun to get to know him, let him get to know me. I think we've kind of got a relationship now where he knows that I'm very comfortable with him just saying whatever it is he feels like I need to hear. And that was one of the most informal podcast interviews that I've ever done, probably that I ever will do. And it's just the nature of it. We're just friends. So it was like, let's just sit down, let's have a conversation, and let's see where this thing goes. So it's fun. Okay. Oh, hey, here's a good one. And this is something I've actually been thinking about this, Dustin. So I'm glad you brought this out. You said, I think you should go side by side screens so we can see you and the person you were interviewing at the same time. And that's my 2 cents. I've been considering that. That's something that I kind of liked it. You kind of liked it. Oh, yeah. Kind of like when you button hooked me. Okay, yes. And for those that don't know, there's a vlog I did. Oh man, was that a Vlogmas? I think it might have been one of the Vlogmas videos where I was getting ready for church, and my brother Dustin here, he and I had this little wager about what would happen if the Packers and the Vikings won, and so he decided to wear Vikings apparel, but it was green and yellow Vikings because it was a local football team down there, and I called shenanigans. He button hooked me on that. But in that thing, yes, we did a side-by-side thing. So you're thinking that I should go side-by-side so we can see you and the person you are interviewing at the same time. And that's my 2 cents. I actually, you know what? I've been thinking about that for 2 different reasons. And you guys, you, Dustin, and you, CJ, agreeing with him, you guys might actually be pushing me over the edge on this one and really kind of sealing the deal for me. The 2 reasons. One, there's some of the interaction that happens, and I've been trying to do the quick cut camera transitions back and forth, which are good, but they're, I don't know. I mean, they're good, but it takes a lot of work. I like having it zoomed in and punched in here and there, which I think is beneficial, and I may do that, I may not. But I do like the side-by-side interaction because I've seen other podcasts doing the same thing. One of them that I'm thinking of that is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. It's the Carey Nieuwhof Leadership Podcast. And he just recently started doing video. Now he's doing it, I think, with a full screen of somebody, and then he's kind of down in the corner in a smaller screen. But I've seen others where they do the side-by-side, and I really like that setup. So that's something I have been thinking about. I have been looking into as an alternative to how we're doing it for the 2 reasons. One, you get the reaction. When they're talking, you get to see my facial expressions. When I'm talking, you get to see theirs. And then it would also be fun with seeing us all the time to see how much we're lifting these mugs up and drinking coffee, which is a lot. But the other part of this is the work that it takes me to break those down and really edit the whole thing. That is a lot of work. And so, you know what? I've actually got another podcast that's coming out on Monday. I've got it mostly edited, but I could easily switch it up and try the side-by-side on that. That would be interesting just to see how that would play out. I kind of like that idea of having it. I may have to look over. I may not want to go back through with this one yet. So I'll see, but going forward, I definitely think that's a great idea. I love that. So I'm glad you guys are putting that in there. One, it's going to save me a lot of time on the edit. Because if you think about this, like Jason Mayfield's especially, that interview, we went, and honestly, I cut out about 25 minutes of stuff at the beginning that I'm thinking about releasing next week as a bonus video. And it's essentially like 20 minutes of stuff. It'll be cut down. It's not going to be a 20-minute long video. It'll probably be 5 or 6 tops. But it was 20 minutes of him and I talking about glasses, about hats, about lighting, about hair care products, about people coming up and talking to us and catching us off guard, things like that. So it was a fun interview, but with the rest of it, it didn't quite work. So I left that out. But had I done the whole thing, I mean, even without doing the whole thing, that was like, an hour and 18 minutes, I think, is how long Monday's episode of the podcast was. And so you figure if I'm going back and forth and I'm cutting and I'm doing this multicam edit, I'm having to watch an hour and 20 minutes and then edit on top of that with social icons and things like that. So I kind of like where your head's at. And I have a feeling that if there were other people, especially like in that Vlog Your Ministry cohort that I'm at, they would probably be telling me to simplify it and go easy. I am guaranteeing that Kevin Wilson would tell me to stop being a perfectionist and just put the more personal aspect on there. So I like that. Thank you guys. That was good stuff. I'm definitely liking that idea. So that's where we're going to do. CJ with another question here. So what gear are you using besides the Shure SM7B? So the SM7B is this microphone right here. Here, I'm going to drop that down so you guys can kind of see this a little bit easier. So this is the SM7B microphone. I love this microphone just because of the looks. I mean, come on, look, it's just pretty. It's a pretty microphone, so I like it. I have this right here is the Blue Compass boom arm. I like this one because it's a tubular microphone boom arm, and it's just, man, it's good. I like the fact that it's clean and it's sleek and things like that. And then I'm running all of this in through my XLRs to the Zoom F4 field recorder, and that Zoom F4. I really just chose that for two different reasons. One, its preamps are strong enough. It's better than like the H models that they have. I think it has like an extra 20, no, what is it? Like maybe an extra 50 dB on it that it can go up of clean audio. So it does enough to really boost this volume without me having to put any cloud lifters or FET heads. And for those that don't know that, it's essentially just raising the volume of the microphone without raising the floor of the microphone so I don't get any more background noise. So yeah, it's the F4 recorder, which is just running into my computer. And then for the live stream, it's vMix. So that's kind of what I got for this setup. But for the podcast, that's really it. It's just this into the Zoom. But I've thought about trying to simplify it a little bit more. So it's good. So, and then, hey, the young man, Logan Verwers. If you guys are looking for a fun gaming channel, go check out his channel so you can click on his face, and I think it'll take you over there. Maybe it'll take you over there. Probably won't if you click on your face because you're signed in as Logan instead of, Logan RTG. But yeah, and we got to get you another video or two up and recorded. But he's loving the microphone I gave him, which is the one I used to use, guys, which was the Shure PG42 USB. Jason Mayfield, what is a podcast? What is YouTube? What is a microphone? I have no idea for any of that. What is video? That's just funny. That's what I should do. I should so do that, Jason. I was just telling these guys that I've got that bonus footage of you and I where we talked about hair care products, and we talked about, what was it? We talked, hair care products. Sorry, CJ distracted me. Oh no, trouble's here. Yes, trouble is here. And he goes by the name of the Jason Mayfield. So yes, Jason, we did our interview, and we started that off where it was, we talked glasses, hair care, hats, lighting, I don't know, a couple other things. And it was fun. And I think you had even asked me, it was like, are we recording this? So, you should put this stuff up. This is just gold. And so I'm going to edit that down into a shorter clip. But now that you guys are telling me I should do some side by side with the podcast, I think I might just do that with that little video of Jason and I. I think that'll be easy. I can just pull both of them in, do them side by side, crop in. I like that. That'll be a good test run. So I'm hoping to have that edited because I haven't even really started. I mean, I've got a good idea of what I want to do with it as far as cutting it down. So I think I can get that done, uploaded, ready to go, and scheduled. So you guys will get that next week sometime. That should definitely be fun. So you have no idea what we talked about. We talked about everything ever. We did, which, and then I was kind of closing it out, and I was like, I'm sure we'll have you back on the podcast again, but I don't know how we're going to have you on the podcast again. We already talked about everything there was. And Jason, by the way, you missed it. You're going to have to rewind at some point and watch this because I already started implementing your new part to my videos. The floating coffee hand came in a little bit ago. So you'll have to check it out on the replay or something. So, all right. So yes, we've already talked about all of the things we talked about. I believe we did talk about everything. The only thing I think we didn't talk about, I think the only thing we didn't talk about was the Power Rangers or Doctor Who. everything else, I think we pretty much got covered. So yeah, the floating coffee hand in the house. All right, Jason Remster, Green Apple. Jason Remster talking, hey, if any of you guys are energy drink fans and you like Monster energy drinks, have you tried the green one yet? It's like a Green Apple Monster energy drink. If you're a fan of that type of stuff, do yourself a favor and check it out. And then you can send me all of your hate mail about how now I have you hooked on a new one that you really didn't want to be hooked on. I'm just throwing that over. Yeah. I think you're right. I think we did gloss over 1 and 2. So I need a call-in number. That would be epic. You know, I have thought about doing that and having a call-in number. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I probably could set something up really, really quick. I don't know if this would even work. You know, one of these days, Jason, you and I are going to try this. You and I are going to try the call-in number. I do have a way of doing that with vMix. I haven't tested it out yet. I'm not sure if tonight would be a good time to try to test it out or not. So, we'll just figure this out. So, anywho, we've got Dennis. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Dennis is I'm going to have to get you on the podcast next, Dennis. We keep talking about you. Trey mentions you. Jason mentions you. I've mentioned you. I've got you and Jason at the opener of the podcast, so we're going to have to get you there. Oh, hey, Jason, if you're watching this is my brother, and that's not for me. That's for you. We would need a 5-second delay in the call number because of you. I agree. That's probably true. I don't know. You know, and actually I can set that up, I'm sure, where I could do a little bit of a delay, but it'll be interesting. So, I'll have to check it out. So Dennis saying, gonna have to listen to your podcast. Sorry, bro. Hey, that was not a plug for you to go listen to it, but this is a plug. Go listen to it. It's on all of your favorite podcast apps. Just type in digital ministry and you'll find me. Anyway, so yeah, it's been fun conversations with Jason. It's been fun conversations with Trey. You got to check those out. So whatever you want to do, you can watch the YouTube video or listen to it, or you can find it on your podcast app. It's good, good stuff. You will use none of the profanity, I'm sure. That's the one good thing that I think I've got here with with the vMix. I can actually select and make sure that I'm filtering some of your comments. So there we go. Although I guess the funny thing is YouTube does it too. So if there were anything that shouldn't have been, I'm sure they already would have caught them and kind of held them off. They won't even show them to me, I'm sure. But yeah, I think it would be. The chat has gone wild, folks. The chat. Before too long, I'm going to feel like good old JR Jim Ross trying to do color commentary because everything that you guys are doing down here in the chat. So it is all sorts of craziness here. You guys are awesome. This is what live streaming should be about. Just all sorts of fun and nonsensical stuff. At least that's kind of what I think. So, Jason from Dennis. Jason's not your pastor, so he feels he can use all the words. Okay, so if I can just be honest here a little bit, I'm going to be completely honest. You ready for this? Completely honest and just giving you guys something. So Jason, if you heard the podcast, there was some colorful language that he used in what I would deem maybe not an appropriate context for YouTube. In a one-on-one setting, fair enough. Even though the word that I had him bleep out, I actually said, but I used it in a different context. So I think it worked. I mean, if the Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat video and movie could do it, then I figured I could as well. That being said, my wife even told me, she's like, Josh, you know that you do say some pretty harsh stuff from the pulpit when you're preaching. I don't know as I've said like super harsh stuff, but definitely harsh stuff. So when we're talking about this saying, Jason is not your pastor, so he feels he can use all the words. I'm just going to come to Jason's defense here real quick. And I know that you're not meaning this, Dennis, so I know you know him. I know this is a playful, fun thing. But for those that don't know, while Jason is hashtag not your pastor, Jason is a pastor. And so there needs to be that clarification on there. So I think that's good. Rolling your eyes at me just because I bleeped you out. I told you I would say it from the pulpit. I know you would say it from the pulpit. I'm sure you would. And I would probably say it from my pulpit. I've said some pretty harsh stuff that people have looked at me afterwards and like, did you really just say that? And I did. So, but yeah. Anyway, so CJ saying Jason is the harshest. Jason may be the most honest. He's just hashtag not your pastor. It's a good thing. It is. I mean, I think he started the hashtag not your pastor, so it works. I'm loving it. So, and there we go. There's Dennis saying, I don't tell Jason what to do. No, I don't think any of us can tell Jason what to do. Even if we tried to tell Jason what to do, I don't think it's possible. I really don't think it's possible because the Jason Mayfield there you go. No, if you're wondering if he actually used profanity right there, no, those were just the I don't know, what do they call those, the stars, the asterisks. He just used a bunch of asterisks. If you're wondering if he used profanity on the YouTube video, and here's ultimately the reason I bleeped that out, Jason. The reason I bleeped that out was because on YouTube, you have a section where you can add in blocked words, and I actually have that exact word as one of the words that I have blocked from my comments and chats, so if anybody tries to use it, and maybe if any of you were commenting and using that, and your comment didn't show up, that would be why. Yes, I use that word, but I used it in its proper term. So there you go. So if you want to hear it, you can hop over to the podcast. I don't even remember. I should probably figure out exactly what time that is, but I want to say it's around, I don't know, maybe around the 15-minute mark in the podcast. It's there. So it is in the podcast. Yes. And Jason cannot be caged. And Trey told me he said that you should. So, well, Trey told me that he thought I wanted to use it. So if I wanted to use it, I should use it. Trey was not any help at all. You told me I should ask Trey. Trey was no help at all. Then you told me I should ask my mom. So I asked my mom and she was help. She said, no, don't use that. So I just listened to Mama. Mama knows best, right? So, yeah. So CJ, it is in the podcast. And yes, you guys are going to definitely have to listen to that podcast. It is fun. And then Mom's right. You are harsh. Earlier, you said I couldn't make... Hey, you go to your room. There's harsh for you. Miguel Fuentes in the house. Hey, how are you doing? It's good. You got in like at the right time. BT Rising. Hey, bro, how you doing? You guys are in here when all of a sudden it's like the comments section has went bananas, and I've lost control of this. So let's see if I can try to rein it back in. Has anyone seen the fantastic Mr. Fox? No, I have not seen the fantastic Mr. Fox. That's going to be something good? I'm just looking up real quick. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Just to kind of get an idea of what it is. I'm not going to play it right now, but I want my phone to make sure that it's actually bringing it up, and then I can check it out here. Oh, I know what that was. No, I have not seen it. I do know what you're talking about now, though. That was something that I had thought about looking at that movie, but I actually never did. Okay, so we're back up here. Miguel saying that I need to start a video podcast and or audio podcast. Yeah, and Miguel, if you want to do that, here's what I would suggest just from earlier. Some of these guys talking, Dustin and CJ, they recommend video podcast if you're going to interview people. Don't do what I'm doing where you're switching back and forth between cameras. They actually recommend side-by-side video. So I think I'm going to start doing that. I like the idea. So the CJ is saying, to be honest, I am sensitive to profanity, and that is why I ask. Okay, so CJ, if you're asking, when you listen to the podcast, you will not hear any profanity in that. You will not hear a profane word. You will hear a kid, you know those like rubber kids hammers that kind of squeak? You'll hear that squeaky toy go off a couple times when Jason opens his mouth. I think maybe 5 times to be precise. And then I will say the word that he said, but in a completely different context, and it is not profanity. The way that I used it, it's not. The way that he used it, I don't know. Some people would call it profanity. Others would just call it an exclamatory remark. It could be a derogatory term or an insult. You'll catch it. And if the ears are sensitive to it, let's put it this way. I have no problem with my kids listening to this. So if you think about that cartoon, the movie, actually the live animation with Mike Myers, where it was the Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat. If you have no problem listening to that, you'll be fine listening to my podcast. So there you go. They make a cream for that, wherever you, I have no idea what that even means. So you said that people would call it the right word. Some probably would. Okay. So, all right. Now Jason's saying he's thinking the switching back and forth is better. I'm not sure if it's better or not. I really don't know, but we're going to find out. And you know what? I think people are going to think that you're Gary Vee by the end of this stream, which you're absolutely not. But yes, they will. CJ, hey, I'm in control of that comment, so I'm putting it in there just because of the cream comment. I have no idea. All right, let's get back on track. You guys are distracting me so much. Raul, brother, how you doing? It is good to see you here. Oh man, are you going to be up in Minnesota next week? I'm assuming you are, because I think every time we've been up for family reunion, we've always seen you. If you are, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. So I hope you're going to be there. And if not, I am going to be sad and I will cry because I miss seeing your face. You're always so much fun. You're just a joy, a delight to be around. So I'm hoping you're there. I'm hoping you make it. It would be a blast if you are. So Logan saying the joke's on me from earlier when I told him to go to his room because he's in that. Here you go. You want to know if there was profanity? Here's my son. He didn't even know that there was profanity in that movie, and there's not, in my opinion. So, anywho, there we go. I believe Jason is right that this is probably going to be the highest downloaded podcast ever, of my podcast, the Digital Ministry Podcast. I would believe that that's absolutely true. I have no doubt in that whatsoever. So, man, where did we go? This thing we just went off the rails. We just kept rolling with this thing, and it has been a blast. 35, 40 minutes of like nonstop, just kind of going and going and going. So it's, hey, you guys got any questions? I want to hang on for about another 10 or 15 minutes, maybe. So let me know if you've got some stuff. So, okay, what is profanity to you? This is actually a really interesting question. So I would say profanity to me, I really look at profane words kind of coming in the vein of, I guess, and maybe what I think of profanity, the expletives. Really, if something doesn't need to be there, if it was an unnecessary, unwholesome speech that is solely intended in a derogatory, insulting manner, that to me is profanity. So anything that would require at least a PG-13 rating, like if you instantly just throw that rating on something, yeah, you're getting in the realm of profanity to me. That being said, there is a little bit of a caveat that I put on some of that, to where if that word is necessary to be used to help or even get the attention that leads to help for somebody, then I would be okay with it. I wouldn't call it profane. I wouldn't call it something that is unnecessary. I guess maybe I try to simplify this in looking at my language from the lens of Ephesians 4:29, where it says, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but only that which is good for the necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. And that grace, that unmerited favor, it's like I like to call it God's riches at Christ's expense. It's that favor, that blessing that comes upon us from God. If what we are saying is for that necessary edification to build them back up, and to then impart grace to them, I'm all for it. So you can look at, like, in Jesus's days, and yeah, this is here. I'm going to have this conversation where I'm pulling it up so people can see this as well. So you don't see those words ever as necessary, but that's me. And I would sit there and say, yes, I generally agree with you. However, if we go back to the biblical context of even Jesus in the day, the biggest insult and even derogatory term that you could kind of throw at people was hypocrite. And Jesus used that on people. He used it, one, to call them out on their stuff, which to me, it's kind of that, I want to say it's Proverbs. I think somebody had mentioned it even in Jason's video. I think it was Pastor Mike Maddox. I want to say it was Proverbs 26, verse 4 and 5, that don't answer a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him, but answer a fool according to his folly, lest he remain in that. And essentially that's when God is saying, you don't want to answer somebody the way that they are presenting it, if that means you're then going to be a fool like them. But you do want to answer somebody the way that they're presenting it, if that's the only way to get them to stop being that foolish. And that's what I kind of see Jesus doing. I see Jesus doing that when he would call people, hypocrites, brood of vipers, whitewashed tomb. He was using those terms, and he would call people out on things that we would not in this current culture say is socially acceptable at all. And we would oftentimes say that it's not necessary, but we can see where that was necessary to draw a line on one of two things. So for me, that's kind of the little bit of caveat that I put on some of that, where no, you'll never in my everyday speech see that. However, there are some times that I'll just get a little bit riled up and I'll use something that is PG-13. I can't think of in the last 10 plus years, I can't think of any time that I've really used R-rated words, if I can try to use those ratings, because I think we kind of understand that. I don't even watch R-rated movies anymore because I just don't like them. I'm so disappointed that VidAngel is now closed up shop, because that was the only way I was watching R-rated movies, was having them bleep out all the words. So I don't do that. I mean, I love Gary Vee. He's a great marketer, but I don't listen to his stuff, except for now he has Gary Vee, I think, profanity free. And so because they've kind of bleeped him out, now I'll listen to his stuff for that reason. But no, I don't like, and I don't use that stuff. So I just kind of go with the approach that, and actually here, Miguel puts this in a great way. He says, we got to speak life and not death. And I would absolutely agree with that, where, it's the Proverbs 18:21. I love it out of the Message translation. Yes, that's right. I'm going to quote a paraphrase Bible. Sue me, whatever. Call me whatever funny names you want to. But I love the way it simplifies it and really puts it. And yes, the original one is, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat its fruit. But the Message says that words kill, words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. And so I actually believe that, yes, life and death, health and healing can be in those words. And so I think oftentimes we, as just human beings, especially as Christians, we need to be very aware of the power of our words and how words can speak life to somebody. They can be health, but we're also told to speak the truth, and we're told to speak the truth in love. And so we need to realize, is the word that I say, it could hurt somebody, but will it harm them? There's a difference between hurting and harming. If the words that I say are going to harm them, that's going to leave them worse off than I would have if I just kept my mouth shut. And that, I believe, is unnecessary and never called for. But if our words hurt them, which kind of in Jason's example that he used with Jesus and the woman at the well, and how he had told her, yeah, you had 5 husbands and now you don't have, the one you're with isn't even one. The way that he addressed her, the way that he spoke to her was very hurtful. He was calling her on her stuff, but it was the truth, and it did build her up, because then she goes running back and she's like, come, let me tell you about the man who told me everything I ever did. So that was him being able to speak the truth in love that did hurt, but it didn't harm. And that's a very thin balance for us. I think we should all kind of err on the side of let no corrupt word, no profanities come out of our mouth. But if we have a maturity and a discernment about us, Jason's one of those. He's been in ministry. He served as a pastor for many years. He's seen the human condition so much that he knows when people just need a shock and awe statement. And I would say I kind of do that, and many pastors do. And so when that happens, I think we've been around enough and experienced enough of just people that sometimes they just need to be called out. They just need, almost like, your mama walking up and slapping you in the back of the head, just saying, you need to check yourself. So in those moments, I think it can be necessary if, again, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, only that which is good for the necessary edification. If it's going to build them up, if it's going to impart grace to them, perfect. If not, zip it. So that's where I'm coming from. So yeah, I hope you like that. Love your take on this tangent, bro. Thanks for, and that's what I want to do. This is one of those other things that I love about these live streams. We can have fun. We can just kind of roll with things. We can have my comments section just go bananas because you guys are just having so much fun in there. And I love that. I also love the moments when we have questions. It could be about podcast gear. It could be about tech gear. It can be about Bible translation, about profanity, anything like that. It's fun to have those conversations. So I am loving it. Yes, Harley, curse-free Gary V. That's what it's called. Yes. And hey guys, I'm typically not somebody that really promotes anybody that would have a lot of profanity on their stuff. I will highly encourage you guys, if you are looking at doing any type of marketing and having understanding on marketing, which if you've got a business, if you've got a church, if you've got a ministry, if you've got any of that stuff, you should be thinking about marketing. And Gary V is one of the greatest minds out there when it comes to marketing. And now that he has his curse-free channel, man, it's awesome. I absolutely love it. So, and CJ, R.I.P. Vid Angel. Yes, rest in peace. I wish it were still around. I'm hoping that because of the demand they had and the success they had, I would really hope that Hollywood would catch that. And I believe they probably will at some point down the line. Because you can kind of see there, Vid Angel was really around that wholesome family Christian content. They didn't want the profanity. They didn't want the nudity. They didn't want the offensive stuff. And because of all of that, that's what brought Vid Angel around. I do believe that Hollywood will get the hint. And that's just because Hollywood wants to make money. First and foremost, that's what they want to do. Really, any business out there, they want to make money. If you look at the things that even YouTube has done recently, where they've tried to limit a lot of that speech, a lot of the language, a lot of the different things, the main reason is because of money. They know that the advertisers don't want to put ads on channels that are that offensive. And that's why they pull in the reins on that stuff. It's to protect their business. It's to really meet the needs of their customers, their viewers. So I totally get it. I think there is going to be a day coming before too long where Hollywood will start to make that little bit of a caveat. I think what they'll probably do is charge extra for that type of a feature. But I'd pay it. I'd have no problem paying that. So, all right. Logan, random question. What is your favorite Funko Pop? My favorite pop of mine is Thanos. All right. So guys, if you're wondering what he's talking about this stuff up here. So these are the Funko Pops that I have got. And I've got, this whole shelf here is all Doctor Who. Over here, that's all WWE wrestlers and Overflow. And then up above my head, on some of the other videos, you can actually see it where it's more. Oh, and then these guys over here, I've got 4 over there. I think I've got Batman, Superman. Oh, I got 5. Doctor Who, No, I got Batman, Superman, Iron Man, Captain America, and then Stan Lee is up there in a bronze statue. What is my favorite? Here, I got to move this so I can turn around all the way. Oh yeah, it's Adipose. Adipose is my favorite. It's and part of that is because here I am. For those that don't know, my dietary lifestyle is the ketogenic diet, which is essentially fat. And adipose is part of that fat breakdown. So when the first time I saw the cute little white fat adipose, it was, yeah, adipose. That's my favorite. So there you go, Logan. And here's another good one. What is your favorite wrestler, and are you still a wrestling fan? Yes, I am a wrestling fan. And if you didn't know this, I was actually a professional wrestler for about 8 years, traveling the Midwest as an independent wrestler. So I did that. And honestly, if I were to try to tell you my favorite wrestler when I was growing up was Sting. And that he was my favorite wrestler up until about I was a teenager. And about 14, it changed, and then it became Chris Jericho. So currently, I would say my favorite wrestler is still Chris Jericho. I would say, yeah, I'm still a wrestling fan. I still watch it, not as often as I do. Anytime there's really a pay-per-view and stuff, I do that. We've had people over at our house to do things like that. So yeah, I definitely still watch it. I have not watched the AEW pay-per-view that was just out there the other day because WWE got me so used to only spending $10 a month for their network, and that included all their pay-per-views. And here comes AEW, and they're like, hey, we want you to spend $50 on a pay-per-view. And I haven't spent $50 on a pay-per-view since, I don't know, the 90s? I mean, it's been a long time. So yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. Jason, back in the house. You're back. Did anyone drop any bad words? No, we did not drop any bad words while you were gone. We were talking about Funko Pops, which, by the way, Jason, just a random question because of Funko Pops. I know you've got a few different ones from the Green Ranger. Do you have a favorite one from the Green Ranger? Genevieve, her favorite one is the entire bottom shelf. That is because she is a Doctor Who fan, so that's her entire favorite one. But if you really want to know, out of all of those, the favorite one would be right there. That would be David Tennant. That would be the Doctor that is her favorite. So, so he is lying. Big Dog Barber was his favorite. Big Dog Barber was my favorite person to wrestle. He was not my favorite wrestler. So yeah, where are we at? What is your finishing move? Oh man, that is so hard. I had so many different finishing moves. I would say the first finishing move that I really used and enjoyed, and this is going all the way back. So, Dustin, you can even kind of remember this. I think this was even at AIB. I used it. I don't think I finished with it by any means, but it was actually the Diamond Cutter, that 3/4 turn neck breaker. Some know it as the RKO. That was probably my favorite. And I use that, I think, as much as any other move for trying to do finishers. It was just always fun. And I would do a few different variations on it. So that one was probably my favorite. I also had another one that I did from another guy around here. He lived in Omaha, Chip Douglas. And he had a Douglas downfall, and it was like spin the guy all the way around your shoulders and then drop him into a rock bottom. So it was kind of interesting. So Diana Gladney in the house. Never watched any of the Doctors. I'll have to check it out. Okay, if you want to start with Doctor Who, Genevieve, let us know exactly what season it was. It's with the David Tennant, and I want to say that's the 9th Doctor, 10th Doctor. 10th Doctor, and she'll correct me if I'm completely wrong. So the 10th Doctor, but I want to say that was season, I don't remember what season it was. Anyways, look for the one with David Tennant. So I'll try to connect with you and share it with you. That's who you want to start with. That really, I had started with the previous one. Was it Chris Ecclesman, something like that? And it's good, but it's completely different. So you want to start with David. That'll get you into it if you're going to. Yes, David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, CJ for the win. I'm glad that we got that there. And yes, David Tennant is my favorite Doctor Who. He is so good. My daughter saying, where is the favorite wrestlers, The Miz? I don't even know why I pulled that up there. I should not have pulled that up there at all. Okay, so I'm getting a correction from my older brother. Cordova Splash, his wife, Cordova Splash. Yes, the Cordova Splash was an early one, but I was using the Diamond Cutter back with the Clown before Cordova. That's where I was thinking of that. Here's my wife running in here with some foul language. Leave it to her. Jason, you were wondering about it. There it is. It's Genevieve. She's the one that did it. The tea bag. You spelled it wrong, my wife, and now you made it something bad. I did have a finishing move that was called the teabag, but it was not spelled that way. It was the letter T, because our bodies kind of made a T. It was an inverted pedigree. That's what it was. Jeez, woman, what are you doing? So Jason saying I have all the Power Rangers, like number 360, which is the Green Ranger with his helmet on. Okay. All right. I was wondering because we've been around at some of the different comic shops and I'm seeing them. So it's like, oh man, those are cool. And we love going out there and just finding stuff. So it's, yeah, good stuff. I'm catching up with some of these. Diana is just laughing at us. I'm going to blame that all on Jason Mayfield. That's what I do. If anything is wrong, that is it. He gets all of the blame. Apparently, Dustin just made my son spit out his stuff. Okay, there was one here and I wanted to catch back up with it. Man, where were we at? Kiara, where can you hear your podcast at? Ooh, hey, you can hear my podcast on youtube.com/Joshua Verwers. You'll find it there. You can also catch it on Apple, on Google, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, on all of the podcast things, just by looking up the Digital Ministry Podcast. And you'll find it there. CJ, I know you had another one here. There we are. I'm running it. What camera are you live streaming with? I am live streaming with the Canon M50. And so that's what I'm using right now, which Canon M50 with the EFM 22mm f2.0 lens. It gives us this nice, beautiful, blurry bokeh in the background. So that's kind of why I love going with that one. Let's see. All right, so my wife is mad. She's saying, no, you need to start with the 9th Doctor, apparently. She wants you to start with Chris. You can start with him, and it will be good. Just keep in mind, he's more of a Shakespearean actor. So, as long as you get that, then you can go ahead and start the 9th Doctor. Holy moly. I think we're up to number 13 on the Doctors. So, yes, CJ, David and Matt were awesome. Peter, I loved Peter's personality. If you want to know my favorite Doctor, it's Peter Capaldi. I just love it. Absolutely love it. So it's so good. So, where did we go? It's like this whole thing giggles and you couldn't help it. And man, we're going all around. Awesome favorite wrestler, AJ Styles, Kerry Von Erich, Ric Flair, Randy Savage. Oh yeah. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are some good ones. CJ Lingle, you got a podcast. Hey, drop it. Let us know. What's the name of your podcast? Where can they find it? Type that out. I'll pull it up here on the screen so people can check that out as well. Charles Tribune in the house. Charles saying, I went to one Monday Night Raw many, many years ago, right after the Houston Oilers left Houston. I wore our Warren Moon jersey and rewatched it later. They zoomed in on me and called me an idiot. Oh, that is awesome. I'm writing this down because I have the WWE Network, and I'm going to see if I can find it. You're going to have to tell me if you can remember roughly what year. I can probably track that one down, and I'm going to find it because that's just going to be fun. So, Charles Raw. And honestly, one of the first times that I ever went to a wrestling show was with my older brothers. I can't remember who all was there. I forget who. I know somebody had to have taken me, but it was a WCW Monday Nitro that was in Des Moines, Iowa at, I believe, Veterans Memorial Auditorium. And this is back when Sting was kind of coming down out of the rafters and stuff. And I happened to be up in the hallway, had just went to the bathroom, coming out, and I had missed them walking down from the stairs. But as they were coming out through the exit, I was going in and able to kind of wave and give a high five. So I wasn't on camera at all, but hey, it was still a cool experience. So, yep. Where we got here? Jolene. I can't get used to any other doctor. I really should give them a try. If you have tried David Tennant, and love David Tennant, you will love Matt Smith. Matt was great. It's just the whole Doctor Who thing. They're characters and they're so much fun. But Genevieve is blaming it all on Jason Mayfield. You see what happened, Jason. You have let this whole thing go down. You have just stirred up. I'm not sure I want a live call-in number at this point. This is a Christian stream. Apparently this is a Christian stream. I don't know. The whole thing just kind of deteriorated at this point. We just went random stuff. Is Doctor Who on Netflix? I don't have TV stations. Amazon Prime Video. That's where you're going to be able to catch up with all the old ones. Netflix doesn't have it anymore. I believe Amazon Prime is really the only place to kind of catch that stuff. Or maybe BritBox if you can get that stuff. I don't even know if we can get BritBox here in the US. But yeah, that's what I would say. That do that. Amazon Prime Video. I think they've got all of the Doctor Who stuff leading up to this season, and they usually upload the current season a season behind. So even the current ones, we watch that stuff on, what is it? YouTube TV. I just recorded all, so it's got it there. So, yep. Man, don't remember that. Yeah, mid to late 90s. Yeah, and if you're saying it was right when the Houston Oilers had left, that would be about right. Because it was about that time. That's been a minute ago. We're starting to date ourselves that we can even remember that. So, anywho, Miguel out of here. Gonna go. Got to start your video in 15 minutes. Awesome, brother. Have a good one. You enjoy that. I think we're gonna wrap up here in just a second as well. But do you know who was on TV? You, Mom, and me at the Barnstormers game. That's right, you were. I need to get that video, finish editing that one so we can get that uploaded. He's the only one that I have not uploaded a birthday vlog from, so you guys can expect that. You will actually get to see that Friday morning. I am dropping a new vlog, a proper vlog. You will get to see it, and it will be Logan's birthday vlog. So you've heard it first right here. So there you go. And CJ, the podcast is called Send Missionary Stories on Google Podcast and Apple Podcast. So there you go. You guys can check that out right there. Man, this has been fun. I went a little bit longer than I was planning, but you guys have kept this fun, interesting, exciting. So glad that you could all join and just kind of jump on this stream. I know we talked about a lot of stuff. We had a lot of conversations going on, a lot of crazy twist and turn here, but it has been a blast. And you guys make this so much fun. So I just want to thank all of you out there. And before we leave, I want to do what I like to do on my streams, and I just want to pray for us all. So let me just go ahead and do that, and we'll close out of here. Father, I just thank you so much for each and every person that this is reaching and that it's touching, everybody that's been here and interacting and having these conversations. I love how you are able to bring so many of us from so many different walks of the Christian realm and bring us in such a unity, realizing that we're brothers and sisters and we may have some different disagreements and some different insights on things, but ultimately we are here, we're your children, and we're here to serve you. And so I thank you for that. I thank you that you've given us that spirit of unity where we just want to enjoy each other's company and love one another. I ask that you'd continue to stir us up, continue to use us in a mighty way, and just have an impact in and through our lives for your kingdom and for your glory. I pray blessings upon each and every one that would hear this. And so I thank you for that. I give you the honor and praise, and it is in Jesus' name that I do pray. Now, there we go, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this stream. Thank you so much for jumping on with me. Until next time, I just want you all to stay blessed, enjoy God's best, and have a fantastic evening. New vlog is coming Friday morning at 8.